जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Is it okay? This one? Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is somewhere. आपके पास नहीं, आप ले रही थी वो फोन से. अच्छा, फोन में से होगा. All right. So we'll start with the Prabhupada Leela, and we'll continue this every day from now onwards. 2023 start with Prabhupada. All right, and we'll start with chapter 1. I'll read for say about 10 minutes. No, we'll see how many minutes. Chapter 1, Childhood. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay. chapter 1. It's written by His Grace Satsuru Goswami, volume 1, chapter 1. Childhood. The title is Childhood. We would be sleeping and father would be doing arti. Ding, 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 ding. We would hear the bell and wake up and see him bowing down before Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so it was Janmashtami, the annual celebration of the advent of Lord Krishna. Some 5,000 years before, residents of Calcutta, mostly Bengalis, and other Indians, but also many Muslims and even some British were observing the festive day, moving here and there through the city's streets to visit the temples of Lord Shri Krishna. Devout Vaishnavas, fasting until midnight, chanted Hare Krishna and heard about the birth and activities of Lord Krishna. From Srimad Bhagavatam, they continued fasting, chanting, and worshipping throughout the night. The next day, September 1, 1896, in a little house in the Toli-Gunge suburb of Calcutta, a male child was born. Since he was born on Nandotsav, the day Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj, had observed a festival in honor of Krishna's birth, the boy's uncle called him Nandula. But his father, Gaur Mohan Dev, and his mother, Rajni, named him Abhechara, one who is fearless, having taken shelter at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Abhechara. In accordance with Bengali tradition, the mother had gone to home of her parents for the delivery. That's according to our Indian tradition too. The child, the mother goes to the mom's home to give birth to the child. But nowadays it's not really happening due to many circumstances. And so it was that on the bank of Adi Ganga, a few miles from his father's home, in a small two-room mud-walled house with a tiled roof underneath a jackfruit tree, Abhecharan was born. A few days later, Abhay returned with his parents to their home at 151 Harrison Road. An astrologer did a horoscope for the child, and the family was made jubilant by the auspicious reading. The astrologer made a specific prediction. When this child reached the age of 70, he would cross the ocean, become a great exponent of religion, and open 108 temples. Abhecharan Dev was born into an India dominated by Victorian imperialism. India dominated by Victorian, the British imperialism. At that time, Abhecharan was born. Calcutta was the capital of India at that time. What is the capital of India now? Delhi and New Delhi. Both Delhis, new and old. They are old. Calcutta was the capital of India, the seat of the Viceroy, the Earl of Elgin and Kincardine, and the second city of the British Empire. So British was ruling India. They ruled for 200 years. Europeans and Indians lived separately, although in business and education they intermingled. The British lived mostly in central Calcutta, amidst their own theatres, racetracks, cricket fields, and fine European buildings. The Indians lived more in North Calcutta. Here the men dressed in dhotis and the women dressed in saris, and while remaining loyal to the British Crown, followed their traditional religion and culture. Abhay's home at 151 Harrison Road was in an Indian section of North Calcutta. Abhay's father, Gaur Mohan Dey, was a cloth merchant of moderate income and belonged to the aristocratic Suvarnavanik merchant community. He was related, however, to the wealthy Malik family, which for hundreds of years had traded in gold and salt with the British. Originally, the Maliks had been members of their family, a gotra or lineage that traces back to the ancient sage Gautam. Not Gautam Buddha, but sage Gautam Rishi. But during Mughal period of pre-British India, that means the Muslims were ruling before the British, a Muslim ruler had conferred the title Malik, means lord, on a wealthy, influential branch of the Des. Then, several generations later, a daughter of Des had married into the Malik family, and the two families had remained close ever since. An entire block of properties on either side of Harrison Road belonged to Loknath Malik, and Gaur Mohan and his family lived in a few rooms of a three-story building within the Malik properties. Across the street from Des residence was Radha Govinda temple, where for the past 150 years the Maliks had maintained worship of the deity of Radha and Krishna. Various shops on the Malik properties provided income for the deity and for the priests conducting the worship. Every morning before breakfast, the Malik family members would visit the temple to see the deity of Radha Govind. They would offer cooked rice, kachoris, and vegetables on a large platter and would then distribute the prasadam to the deity's morning visitors from the neighborhood. Among the daily visitors was Abhay accompanying his mom and his dad, or the servant. Srila Prabhupada writes or says, I used to ride on the perambulator with Siddheshwar Malik. He used to call me Moti. Moti means, in Hindi, means pearl. So he used to call Prabhupada Moti. And his nickname was Subidhi. And the servant pushed us together. If one day this friend did not see me, he would become mad. He would not go in the perambulator without me. Then it's a kind of, a rickshaw. We would not separate even for a moment. So Srila Prabhupada and his friend would not separate for a moment. They were very close friends. So I'll stop here on page 3. Somehow we'll put them up. Srila Prabhupada Lila Amrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16, Text 8. So it's there. Please repeat after me. Devo varshati asau devo. Nardeva vapurhari. Krichara prana prajahi esha. Krichara prana prajahi esha Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat Devo Varshati Asau Devo Nardeva Vakurhari Krichara prana prajahi Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat Devo Varshati Asau Devo Nardeva Vakurhari Krichara prana prajahi esha Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat
Devo Harsati Aso Devo
Devo Varshati Asau Devo Nardeva Vakurhari
Devi Avarsati Aso Devo
Deve Varshati Asau Devo
Devo Hari
Nardeva Vakurhari
Prana Pajayesha
Krichara prana prajahi esha Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat Devo Varshati Asau Devo Nardeva Vakurhari Krichara prana prajahi esha Rakshishyati Agya Sandravat. Okay. Deve, when the demigod Indra, Avarshati, does not supply rains. So that Deva, Maharaj Prithu, Nardeva, of the king, Vapu, having the body, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krichara Prana, suffering living entities, Praja, the citizens, he certainly, Esha, this, Rakshishyati, will protect, Ajasa, very easily, Indravat, like King Indra. Translation and purpose translation. When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly King Indra. Thus, he will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. So please repeat. When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly King Indra. Thus, he will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. King Prithu is very appropriately compared to the sun and the demigod Indra. King Indra of the heavenly planets is in charge of distributing water over the earth and other planetary systems. It is indicated that King Prithu would arrange for the distribution of rainfall personally if Indra failed to discharge his duty properly. Sometimes the king of heaven, Indra, would become angry at the inhabitants of the earth if they did not offer sacrifices to appease him. King Prithu, however, being an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not depend on the mercy of the heavenly king. It is foretold herein that if there would be a scarcity of rain, King Prithu would manage to counteract the deficiency by virtue of his bodily powers. Such powers were also exhibited by Lord Krishna when he was present in Vrindavan. Indeed, when King Indra poured incessant water on Vrindavan for 7 days, the inhabitants were protected by Krishna, who raised Govardhan Hill over their heads as a great umbrella. Thus, Lord Krishna is also known as Govardhan, Dhari, Shishirada, Giridhari, and Giriraj. They are all present. So this is Canto 4, Chapter 16, Text 8. Title is Praise of King Prithu by Professional Reciters. In those times, there were professional reciters too. They used to praise the king in the assembly, in the hall. They used to sing and praise them, glorify the kings. So a similar thing is happening here. So I made two notes. So look at that. So in the verse, when there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly king Indra. Thus, he will be very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. Prolonged no rainfall. When there is no rainfall for a long time, that leads to drought, and everyone is aware of that. And what happens as a result? The living entities start to die. They are in great danger due to drought. Because all living entities depend on water. Water is one of the most essential commodity for living, for life. Water, what else? If you don't have water, you will definitely, for a period of time, perish. Water, shelter, that's shelter. Food and air. Water, shelter, food and air. These are the 4 basic things very important for survival. Especially human beings need shelter. You know, they need a house or they need clothes. All right. But other animals, they are naturally protected. They can live outside, under the trees, in the sun, in the rain, like the horses. They stay here in the winter time, and in the summertime they are still outside. But we humans cannot tolerate those. Our body is not designed in that. So these are the basic needs, essential. They are very important for survival. So if there is no water, then the plants start dying first. And when the plants die, there's food for the creatures, the animals. A lot of animals depend on the plant life, fruits and grass and leaves. And so many animals' habitat are the trees and the plants that live on them. And when the trees die, they are exposed to the sun and they will die. So, if there is a prolonged drought, the whole earth will, that area will become a desert. It will be just mud and rocks and stones. You can imagine. And then finally, the living entities die there. Like in Africa, we have seen pictures, and it has happened in many parts of the world. Drought has affected, and the animals just no water, they just fall and they just die, and their bones are all there. People move, if they can, they move away from the drought area and find pasture and lakes and rivers where they can survive. This is happening. It has been happening throughout the creation, this drought. So that's drought. And of course, even the humans cannot survive. Many have died due to drought. And in this verse, King Prithu is an incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he had all those powers that Lord Krishna has. He empowers his incarnations. So they have the same power as Krishna himself. So if King Indra sometimes refuses to distribute rain on planet Earth and other planetary systems in the creation, due to the inhabitants not offering sacrifices to him, then he stops rain for them. In Vrindavan, it was the opposite. He did not stop the rain. He flooded Vrindavan to punish the Brajavasis. He tried. So, King Prithu had the power. He could distribute rain himself. He didn't need King Indra or any devas to do the job. He could do it himself. So, and he would do that to protect the inhabitants and the living entities. Just like Krishna protected the Brajavasis, the inhabitants of Vrindavan. When King Indra did the opposite, instead of stopping the rain, he flooded Vrindavan to punish all the Brajavasis. Ultimately, he failed, as you know. Well, you know the pastimes very well. We'll come to that later. In the purport, demigods, Krishna has empowered or given portfolios to the demigods to do certain things, just like in a democratic country. The prime minister allocates ministries, different ministers to look after different portfolios. So Indra is in charge of rainfall. Can you name some demigods who are in charge of various portfolios? Varuna is in charge of water, rain. Not rain, but ocean and all that. Yeah, Varuna there. Another one?
Ganesh.
Ganesh is in charge of what? Business. Okay. I never heard of it. Thank you. Yeah, and then removing obstacles and all that. Yeah. Agni is in charge of heat and light. Agni, fire god. Yes. Vayudev is in charge of the wind and air and all that. Vishwakarma is in charge of? He is the engineer, architect. Yeah. Saraswati Mata is in charge of Vidya, learning and music too. Yes. Who else? Lakshmi Maya ki jai. She is in charge of fortune and wealth, prosperity. Maybe, I'm not sure. No, not really, I think. Yeah, Lakshminata is not in the category of them. Probably. Something to think about. Thank you, Prabhu. Lord Shiva, what is he? Oh, destroying the whole creation. Brahmaji is in charge of dissolution. And another one you all forgotten about. Sun god, Surya. Yeah. Surya is in charge of giving heat and light, day and night. Chandradev, yes, very important. If there is no Chandradev, our vegetables will have no, and the fruits will have no juice and taste. So it's Chandradev that provides that. Okay, thank you. So these are demigods who are empowered by Krishna to look after various portfolios. All right. So they have to do their duties. But we have just heard about Indradev, and we have experienced that too. I mean, I remember when I was in Tavioni teaching, then the community there, they used to do annual Indradev Puja. They used to do it. Remember? I was surprised because I never heard of that. But when I went there, so they used to offer some prasadam to Indradev. I don't know whether they are continuing now or stopped. I have no idea. But many places, even in Fiji, the Indians were doing that. Indra Puja karte the. So, so Indradev is used to this kind of puja. He used to get man and samman from the inhabitants. So then if you stop it, then there'll be trouble. They'll give trouble. Even some of other demigods too might trouble. You know, people have said, तुम जिसके पूजा करता कुल देवता लोग के पूजा कर, अगर छोड़ दिया तो बर्बाद कर दे, you will be in trouble. They say you have the kul devata means the family demigod worship. They have a special one. So if you stop doing his or her puja, then they will trouble you, cause some problems for you and the family. This is what I have heard. So Krishna has empowered these demigods to do their duty, but later on I'll talk about what Krishna says. So next point. So Indra is in charge of rainfall, and he has to give rainfall to the planet Earth and other planetary systems in the creation. That's his job, and he has to do it. As we have just discussed, that when the inhabitants don't offer sacrifice, then he gets upset and it punishes the inhabitants. But Krishna taught him a lesson later on. Maharaj Pithu, as I said, he would do that job when he was there, present on this planet Earth. When King Indra refused to distribute rain, he would do it. Why? To protect the inhabitants, the citizens. Citizens doesn't mean only the humans. Citizens means every living entity. The king has to protect all the living entities. So Maharaj Prithu would do it when he was the king on this planet. And he's not dependent on any demigods. Not dependent, because he's just like Krishna. He's empowered and is independent. He can do it. Lord Krishna is Swarat, completely independent. And his incarnations are also like that. Swarat means independent. They don't depend on anyone. So Lord Krishna exhibited this independence when he was present on this planet 5,000 years ago. And you all know this Govardhan Leela, pastimes. You know, when Indra tried to punish the inhabitants of Brajabhumi, the Brajavasis, when little Krishna so that they were preparing so much prasadam and garlands and getting ready for a kind of yagna. Then Krishna asked them, what was that? And what were they doing? Asked his dad, father, Ananda Maharaj and the others. And they explained to him that they are off doing sacrifice or yagna for Indra. And that was an annual event for the Brajavasis. And then Krishna said, why are you doing it? Because he supplies the rain, and the rain provides water for us, for our cows, and also for the Govardhan hill. And the grass grows because of rain, and our cows eat that. And they gave lots of nice explanations. And then Krishna refuted that and said, why? King, that's his job, and he has to do it. If the minister doesn't do his job, then the prime minister has the right to, take some action. So that's their job. You don't have to get, what do you call that? Bribes. All over the world, bribes happening. If people can't get their job done, then they give bribe. So this is the sacrifice is just like a bribe. Sorry? Dakshina. Dakshina is something else. Dakshina is
Good name of bribe is the
good name. Okay, yeah. It's a better way of saying it.
instead of bribe looks bad.
दक्षिणा साधु संतों को भी मंदिर जाने के लिए दक्षिणा देना पड़ता है भगवान के दर्शन के लिए अच्छा ठीक है तो उनका भी चलता है okay so Krishna said stop it he just told them why not worship Govardhan hill who provides grass and fruits and nice trees and those waterfalls and rivers all those beautiful things. And he ultimately, what is the word? Convinced the Brajavasis, convinced them, do Govardhan Puja instead of Indra Puja. Use all these things that you prepared. Let's go to the Govardhan hill and they did it. And they worshipped Govardhan hill, had nice prasadam, they circumambulated Govardhan. And that's where Govardhan Parikrama started, and we are still doing it. We have Giriraj here too, and on the altar too. We are so blessed in this new version Dham. It's a Dham. So they did all that, and then Indra came to know that all his sacrifice was offered to Govardhan. Now nobody is doing his worship anymore in Brajabhumi. So he got furious. And he decided he's going to punish the Brajavasis. And he did it. The rain was like columns. This maybe thicker than that. They were just plummeting the Brajabhumi, Vrindavan. And so they were in chaos. They were running here and there, saving people. And then they ran to Krishna. See what Indra is doing now. We told you, worship him. So Krishna said, don't worry, I'll protect you. Krishna always protects his devotees, sincere devotees. Always. We have in Bhagavatam, it's full of protection. So Krishna went to Govardhan and he lifted it with his mighty powers. And on his little finger, he rested it and asked all the Brajavasis to come under and take shelter, even the cows and the calves, all the living, they came under that. And for 7 days and 7 nights, he had an association of Brajavasis, very close association. That's what he wanted, actually. I heard from one Maharaj, Brahmaji stole the calves and his the gopas, the boyfriends of Krishna, and Brahmaji committed an offense against Lord Krishna. And similarly, Indra tried to punish even Krishna and all the Brajavasis. He also committed offense. So he said, whose offense is Krishna liked whose offense more? Liking an offense. Whose offense Krishna liked more? Indra's offense. Why? Because he brought all the Brajavasis very close to him for 7 days and 7 nights. He could see them. You know, he brought the Brajavasis close to him. And why didn't he like Brahma's offense? Because he separated the cows and also the calves and his boyfriends with the gopas. He separated them. So our duty is to bring them together, you know, not to separate. So that's why he liked his offense more. Something funny, sounding funny. But yes, it's serious. So that's Krishna is Swarat, and he protected his devotees. He always protects his devotees. And when we are very sincere and we try our best, although we are committing offenses, we are still in the progressive path of devotional service, we all. And there are shortcomings too. But if we do it sincerely, Krishna will look after us. Right, I covered that story. In Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perish. I will always protect them. Krishna says. He promises that. So when Indra realized who Krishna is, you know what he did? He finally came down and he offered his Dandavat Pranam to Krishna and asked for forgiveness. Thus Lord Krishna is known as Giriraj, Radha Giridhari. Some other points that I would like to mention. Krishna forbids his devotees to worship demigods. He forbids. Which verse? 9:25. Yanti deva, vrata deva, yanti prita vrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mad yajno api ma. Krishna says, if you worship the demigods, you will go to them. If you qualify, then you will go to their planets. If you worship demigods, you can even go to Surya Lord if you worship. Some of the people worship Surya Lord. I've seen them for good health, I think, and for other things. They worship Surya Lord and offer jal, water. So if you worship the demigods, you will go to the demigods. Yanti Deva, Vata Deva, and Pitranyan. If you worship the forefathers, they have their planets, Pitra Lord. You will go there. And Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja. If you worship the ghosts and spirits, you will take birth among them. And Yanti Mam Yajano Apimam, if you worship me, you will come to me. That's what Krishna says. So he's just indirectly, he's not, directly he doesn't say don't worship the demigod, but he's directly mentioning that that if you worship these entities, you will go there. So who wants to go? So if you go to all these places, you have to come back again, take birth again and again. So you are in the cycle of birth and death. So intelligent people worship Sri Hari, Lord Shri Krishna, and try their best to go back to Godhead and end their cycle of birth and death. Okay. In another verse, Krishna says in 7.8, I am the taste in water. Since we're talking about water, rainfall, so I am the taste in water. You know, when you are very thirsty, when you drink water, it's just like Amrit, you know, nectar. And that's what we should be drinking. All the other creatures drink water, but human beings have other liquids to drink. Instead of water, they make juice. Juice is okay. Krishna also takes juice, fruit juice. And then from the fruit juice, like grapes, they make wine, alcohol. So humans drink other liquids, which is forbidden. Anyway, so water is, Krishna says, I am the taste in water, 7.8. And in 10.24, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, and I'm just reading part of that. And among the bodies of water, like lakes and oceans and seas, I am the ocean. Among bodies of water, I am the ocean. Krishna is always not tiny, he's always. How much water is on this planet Earth? What fraction of the Earth is covered with water? 75%, yeah. So imagine 75% of this planet is made of water, liquid. Maybe ocean, lakes, rivers, and puddles, and so on. Yeah. So, and similarly, our body is like that. 75% of our body is liquid. The brain, the tummy, the blood, the meat has water in it. Flesh. Okay, so 75% of our body is also liquid. And that means we should drink a lot of water. We should. The doctor says 7 to 8 glasses of water. Some of us drink liters of water, several liters. I've seen some people carry big 1 liter or 2 liter, and they drink. Yeah, it's good to drink water. It drains all our toxins, you know. And yeah, it's good, but not too much water. I think it will create problems. You'll drown your body. And then in 7.4, Krishna says, Bhumir apo nalvayu kam manobuddhir evacha. So this whole creation, we are included in that. All living entities are made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And kam manobuddhir evacha. Mind, intelligence, and egos. But these 5 elements are every living entity. The whole planet, whole creation is made of these 5 elements. Okay. Something about, I was also checking online about drought. In present time, 2020 statistics show that Sudan is in in Africa. It is one of the world's country that's affected by drought for a long time. Still, there is drought in Sudan and many African nations. And also Afghanistan is in that top list of drought. And other countries. So they are really suffering. the people have to move from those areas, drought areas. And distribution of Earth's global water resources, how much water is where. Ocean, seas, and all those bays, they have 96.5% of the Earth's water. Ocean, seas, lakes, and all of them have 95%, 96.5, sorry. Other saline water, saline means salty water, is 0.9%. Like some areas have salty water. There's a near Jerusalem, there's a sea, which is Dead Sea. Yeah. There's no living entity there, no fish and other things, because it's so salty. That kind of those areas, 0.9%. And fresh water that we drink, freshwater lakes, rivers, you know how much is that? Only 2.5%. 2.5% is freshwater. So you can read more about that, you can research. So I would like to end that Lord Krishna always protects his devotees. This is very important. From all types of danger, not only drought, any kind of danger that comes in your life, you are like we have these things because of our karma, past life. We will fall into dangerous situations. But Krishna makes them little. You know, for example, if you have an accident where you will break your bones, you might have a cow which just have a scratch on it, or you might have a scratch on it. So he makes it tiny, our karma. So he always protects us from any kind of danger if we surrender to him. And there are many examples in our scriptures, like Prahlad Maharaj was protected, Gajendra was protected, and Vrindavan Leela is so much their protection Krishna is given to all the Brajavasis, isn't it? From the demons, from Indra, and so on. He just protected them from all. So he always protects his devotees. Yes, so many. Yeah, very good. And Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody is equal to him, and nobody is higher or above him. No one. Mataha partaram nanyat kinchit astit nandya mai sarvam idam putam sutre mani gana iva. O conqueror of wealth, there is nothing, no truth superior to me, Krishna says. Everything rests upon me as poles are strung on a thread. No truth. So I'll stop there. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Okay. Yes, yes.
Just wondering, because of like the engagement in primary text, the Hindu people, for India and all this different traditions, why don't they follow the Sanskrit words that say about pushing things to the green and words of harmony and all those different things that refer to?
Can you repeat? I didn't really catch it. Can you repeat, please?
So in the Bhagavad Gita is like the primary text, for Hindu and all the traditions. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, worship only me, if you want to go back to the worship only me, no worship of demigods, but they still worship all the demigods. Why is that?
Why? Yeah. We have our own desires, Everybody will not follow this path of bhakti yoga. There are different yogas. Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and all those, as well as demigod worship. So it's our desires. Although they know that they are more interested in these things, material things, so demigods provide them quickly with all these material things. So they worship the demigods, you know. So yes, it's been there. It's a very good point. It's been there for ages since its creation. And Krishna said that another thing is that don't read the scriptures. This is the main weak point in India. People don't read the scriptures for ages, even long time. They don't read the scriptures, so they don't know much of that. They only follow their tradition, the family tradition. They were doing this, so the children do that, their children do that, they just follow that. And we were doing that also in Fiji. Now, before we came to Krishna consciousness, we were just following our parents. What were they doing? They were worshipping Hanumanji or Durga Mata or Shivji. We were doing that because we didn't know, we didn't read Bhagavad Gita. Oh yes, yes. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita made the difference. There are other variations of Bhagavad Gita which doesn't clarify the purpose of Prabhupada, clearly clarifies, explains. And those variations of Bhagavad Gita which were translated by other non-devotees just for many things, maybe for money purpose, fame and all that, it doesn't clarify those things. So yes, so these are some of the answers that I can think of, because it is our tradition, we were following our parents, we know our parents are right, so just continue, but we never read scriptures. We didn't read Bhagavad Gita, definitely not Bhagavad Gita. We did read Ramayana. Ramayana doesn't clarify about this thing, it just says pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. It doesn't mention don't worship this, don't worship that. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that question.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Prabhu, yeah, you are correct that there is no knowledge properly distributed. But another reason is that the Krishna says that out of thousands, millions, only one person.
Yeah,
so
Krishna says that.
Other people, most of the people, they don't want liberation. Indian people, they don't want liberation. They want money. So we want material gain. So we worship demigods. That's why.
Yes.
He worships because he wants to win them. He wants to. So demigods.
Thank you, Prabhu. He's still mentioning the same thing. People want material things. They want money, they want good wife, good husband. They want land and all these things. They are interested in more. 99% of people are interested in that still now. They want good education, good house, and all that. So they worship demigods to provide them. They don't want to go back to Godhead. And thus, most of them don't have the real knowledge. Thank you. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.